Hi, welcome to Ramnathim Ganit Shala. Today we are going to discuss variations and unitary method. Okay, so let's start today's session with an example. All right, so 5 kg of mangoes cost rupees 100. Okay, so 1 kg of mango would cost rupees. What I did on the left hand side here, I did the same statement, the first statement, I divide the left hand side by 5, right, and I divide the same, I do the same to right hand side, right. So that implies 1 kg of mango would cost rupees 20. Now you agree, you all would agree that this is correct. 5 kg of mangoes cost 100 rupees. So if I want to buy 1 kg of mango, it would be 20 rupees. Now this is correct. Okay. So now let's take another example. I'll keep the number the same, but a different situation altogether. So 5 men complete the work in 100 days. Okay, so 5 men complete the work in 100 days. Let me write the same. Okay, so I want to know how many days would one man complete the work. Okay, work in 100 days. I just copy it as it is. Whatever I write here, I copy. I divide the same on both left hand side and right hand side of this statement. So implies one man completes the work in 20 days. Is this correct? I think we are missing something here. You need 5 men to complete the work in 100 days, but if it is one man, he can complete the work in 20 days. How is that even possible? Right? So this is where the concept of variation comes into picture. All right. Let me get to that a little later, but before that, right, we also are going to deal with unitary method, right. Unitary method, whenever there is a problem, okay, we find out the cost associated with one unit. So for example, in this case, 5 kg of mangoes cost rupees 100. So I want to find out what is the cost of 1 kg, right. Somehow I find out the cost, and this happens to be correct. Similarly, 5 men complete the work in 100 days. So I want to know, if I have only one man at my disposal, how many days would it take? Now when I divide both sides, my intention was to find the time taken by one man, but it happens to be wrong. If 5 men take 100 days and only one man can do the same work in 20 days, then why should I employ 5 men? I can employ only one man, no, who can do it in 20 days. So we made a mistake here. Let us see what. Okay, we will clarify a little bit on this. All right. Now I am going to rub this off, but you remember we are going to come back to the problem once again. Okay, I am going to explore and reason out on why this is incorrect. Okay, so let's say 5 men completes the work in 100 days. Now just imagine, right, 5 men are coming every day, they are doing the work and they are going, and it takes 100 days, all right. So the moment, assume that whenever a man comes to the field on the very first day, each is given a box and they work, they finish their work, put it in that box, submit it, and they go back. So on the first day, each man will get one box, correct? His work is to do that whatever is supposed to be done in that box. He completes that work, he goes. So at the end of the first day, 5 boxes work is done, okay? 5 boxes worth work is done. Again second day, 5 people come, they are each given one box, they do their work and they finish their work on day second, okay? 5 boxes worth of work is done. So first day, second day, and each day it continues till the 100th day. So how many boxes are completed? How many boxes worth work is completed? Can I say 500 boxes in this case? Correct, no? So which means there is work worth 500 boxes. Now you will say, what is this box? What is this work? Just for your understanding, I am giving you analogy, right? So 500 boxes worth of work. Now the moment, okay, now just remember that there are 500 boxes worth of work. If one man is available to work, first day he will come, he will be given one box, he can only finish one box in one day. Second day he will come, one more box, so he will take 500 days to complete 500 boxes, correct, no? So sometimes when you divide the left hand side by 5, it's not necessary that the right hand side also needs to be divided by 5. In some cases it may have to be multiplied by 5, just like in this case, right? You divided here, made it one man, but you have to multiply by 5 here to make the equation correct. Now you say one man completes the work in 500 days. Now this is believable, correct, no? 5 men, 100 days, work will be over. If one man is there, he will need more time, more than 100 definitely. How much more? This is what will tell you. I divided this by 5 and I multiplied this side by 5. Now in the previous example with the mangoes, we divided both mangoes as well as the cost and it happened to be right. So when do we divide and when do we multiply? You must be thinking, right? That is where variation come into play. Alright, so let's start with variations, okay? I am going to take the same example, okay, and try to drive home the point. Let's see if you understand. I am sure you would, okay? So there are 2 variations, one is direct variation, other is inverse variation. Alright, so let me start with the mangoes, okay? Mango. So this is the problem of the mangoes, okay? So one was weight, okay, weight 5 kg, right? Weight in kg, okay, and price in rupees, correct. So 5 kg mangoes cost 100 rupees. So 1 kg mango would cost Y, let us assume it is Y, okay, Y rupees. Tell me if 5 is more than 1, okay. So I draw an arrow, the tail, this is the tail, this is the head of the arrow, tail is actually less, whichever is less I have the tail pointing, and whichever number is more I have the head, okay. Okay, so this is the head, this is the tail, and this is the head. Okay, tail, and this is the head of the arrow. I draw it this way, and whichever is less, I will point my tail towards it. 1 is less than 5, so I will draw the tail here and head here. Okay, all right. 5 kg cost 100 rupees. So 1 kg in your experience, right? This is all very common sense things. Would be less than 100 or more than 100. 5 kg I am getting for 100 rupees. 1 kg definitely less than 100 I will get, no? So y is less, should be less than 100, no? Definitely it is less than 100. So if y is less than 100, where should be the arrowhead? Arrowhead should be here, correct, no? Because arrowhead is more always and tail is less. Okay. Now if you see, both the arrows are pointing in the same direction. Because both the arrows are pointing in the same direction, we say it is a or price is directly proportional to weight. Okay, price is directly proportional to weight. All right, so as the price increases, you will get more weight, means you will get more mangoes. More means you will get mangoes which are more in kg basically. All right. Similarly, if weight increases, which means you also have to pay more price for the mangoes. Okay, so this is the thing, right? So whenever this is one is directly proportional to another, the ratio would be phi. Okay, this by this should be equal to this by this. Okay, all right. Therefore, y implies y is equal to 100 by phi is equal to 20, which anyway we found out by unitary method, right? This is not a unitary method, I am just taking using the concept of one being directly proportional to other and then the ratios, okay, of one by other is equal to this by this, right? So it is 20 rupees, right? This is what we figured out, but would always be this be the case? Let's take the second example, right? People or rather men and days to complete, okay, or rather time in days, okay, time taken to complete the work in days, right? 5 men complete the day in 100 days, okay. How many one man would complete the work, let us say, in y days? All right. Now you tell me, 5 men take 100 days, one man would take definitely more than 100, no? Correct, no? He has to do more work, right? He has to do the work of other 5 people or other 4 people also. So y definitely is greater than 100. What is the exact value of y? We will figure out, but y will be more than 100. Now let's draw the same arrow, okay. So phi is greater, so I just point out the hair here. Tail is less, and head as per our convention is more. And we know that y is more than 100, so this will be, head will be here, this will be more and this will be less. Now you see that these two arrows are pointing in the other direction, which means as the number of men decreases, the number of days increases to complete the work, correct? 5 men take 100 days, men started going away and you have just one man and he will take much more than 100 days to finish. So one thing reduced but other thing increased. This reduced here from 5 to 1, it became reduced, but this from 100 to some y which is more than 100, so this increased, and these two arrows are in the other direction. In that case we say time taken is inversely proportional to men available, correct, no? More men, less. Now this is very common sense. You have more people, you will finish the work early. If you have less people, you will take more time to finish the same work. So it is the same stuff. Now in this case, this ratio, right, 5 by 1 will be equal to, you start from the reverse, y by 100. Okay. Earlier we said 5 by 1 is equal to 100 by y in the case of directly proportional. But here it is inversely. So 5 by 1 is equal to y by 100. Now if you solve this, it becomes 5 into 100 is equal to 500. 500 days. Correct, no? So this is an example of direct proportion. This is an example of inverse proportion, right? And let's solve some problems based on this, right? Let's see if we can identify whether it is a problem of direct variation or a indirect, so I mean inverse variation, I beg your pardon, direct variation or inverse variation. All right, good. All right, so let's take a few examples, very simple examples, right? Simple examples help to drive home a point and helps to build your understanding and helps you to move on to complex problems later on. Okay, so let's start with a few things, right? Let me take a few examples of my own. All right, the very first problem. A car travels 120 kilometer in 10 hours. Now it's a pretty slow car, or maybe let me just do one thing. Let me do it at 600, a respectable distance covered for a car in 10 hours, right? How much distance would it cover in 20 hours, okay, or let me say 18 hours, okay. Now let's try using the unitary method, okay. We'll find out how much does it cover in 1 hour, and then we will find out how much it covers in 18 hours. So in 1 hour, okay, in 1 hour, okay, rather in 10 hours, car travels 600 kilometer, okay. So in 1 hour, okay, 1 hour is nothing but 10 by 10. So actually I am dividing this left hand side by 10. So car would travel, it's a case, car travel, how much? Do you expect this to go more than 600? It would not. It would be 600 by 10 is equal to 60 kilometers, right? In 10 hours, if I cover 600 kilometers, in 1 hour it will be 60 kilometers. Plain and simple. You would have experienced this, right? So this is very plain, basic, common sense, right? So in 1 hour, 60 kilometers. Therefore, in 18 hours, now 1 hour you cover 60 kilometer. So in 18 hour car would travel. You multiply 60 kilometer in 1 hour into 18. Correct, no? I think this would be 1080 kilometer, correct, na? 18 into 6, yeah. So 1080 kilometer, right? Now this was using the unitary method. I found out the cost associated with a unit, that is 1 hour, how much? 60 kilometer, and then I multiplied it to get the necessary distance it would travel in 18 hours, right? Let's try the case wherein, you know, we identify whether it is a direct proportion or an inverse proportion, okay. Let's see. Distance and time. Okay, in hours, distance in kilometers. Okay, all right. So now 600 kilometers in 10 hours. Okay, how much would it cover in 18 hours? Okay, let it be y. All right. Now in 10 hours it covers 600 kilometers. So in 18 hours it would definitely cover more than 600. Same logic, right? We know if we are traveling 600 kilometers in 10 hours, so subsequently in 18 hours you would definitely have covered more than 600, right? So y is definitely greater than 600. Let's draw the arrows. Okay, right? 18 is greater than 10, so this is the one less side and this is the more side. Similarly here y is greater than 600, so this, so more. So now if you see, both the arrows are pointing in the same direction, so it is a case of direct proportion. So distance traveled or distance covered is directly proportional to time, okay, time taken, directly proportional to travel time. Let's say travel time. Okay, we are traveling, travel time, right? So in this case, you remember watt by watt should be equal to watt by watt. 600 by y should be equal to 10 by 18. Now you may ask, can I do y by 600 is equal to 18 by 10? You can do, because it is the same. Let's do that. Okay, y by 600 is equal to 18 by 10, right? Y by 600 is equal to 18 by 10. Therefore, y becomes 18 into 600 by 10. Correct now? And this happens to be 1080. Okay, kilometer. So y is equal to 1080 kilometer. Unitary method, and I use the concept of direct variation to solve this problem. All right, good. Let's move on to the next problem. All right. So hope you got what I am trying to explain here, and it should be pretty easy, because this is what you encounter in day-to-day life. You may not know about direct variation or inverse variation, but this is what you actually do. Okay, all right. Let's do one more problem. At 40 kilometers, at 40 kilometer per hour, I reach home in 5 hours. So if you drive at 40 kilometer per hour, you reach home in 5 hours. How much time would it take to reach home at 80 kilometer per hour? Okay, so at 40 kilometer per hour you reach home in 5 hours. So 80 kilometer per hour, how much time would it take, right? So let's take the variation method here, right? So speed, I hope you know speed is measured in kilometer per hour, okay, kilometer per hour, and time, okay, time in hours. All right, at 40 kilometer per hour I reach home in 5 hours. So 80 kilometer per hour I'll probably reach home in y. Okay, now tell me, where should the arrow point? I know this arrowhead is here, because 80 is more than 40. I point the arrowhead towards the one entity which is more. Okay, so this is more and this is less. All right, now what about this? 40 kilometer per hour if I drive, I reach in 5 hours. If I drive faster, I will reach faster, no? If I drive faster, definitely I will require less time. So y will be less than 5, correct, no? At 40, I take 5 hours. At 80, I am more faster, I will reach home faster. So y will be less than 5. So this is the arrowhead pointing here. This is more and this is less. Okay. So if that is the case, speed, or rather time taken, is inversely proportional to speed. More the speed, less the time taken. Time taken, travel time, is inversely proportional to vehicle speed. Correct, no? All right. So if it is inversely proportional to vehicle speed, so we will write down y by phi, right? I am going this way. Y by phi is equal to 40 by 80. Correct? You can write 40 by 80 is equal to y by phi. Anything is possible, but one side you go up, other side you come down, because they are inversely proportional, right? So y by phi is equal to 40 by 80. So y becomes 40 by 80 into phi. So this becomes 2.5 units hours. So 2.5 hours. Now that is understandable. Common sense will tell you this is the right answer. If you are going at 40, you take 5 hours. If you increase your speed, you double your speed, naturally your time will be half. So 5 half is 2.5 hours, right? So this is the case of inverse variation. Okay. Do you want to try the unitary method? We can do that also. Let's try unitary method, right? Let's find out the time taken. So what exactly we need to find here? How much time would it take to reach home at 80 km per hour? Okay, fine. So let's do one thing. So typically I know 80 km per hour. I'll just say that at 40 km per hour, okay, speed, at 40 km per hour speed, it takes 5 hours, okay, to reach home. Now at, let's say if you are traveling at 1 km per hour, I am going to find out the value for 1 unit, unitary, so 1 unit, right? At 1 km per hour speed, what do you think it will take? It would take, right, you divided this by 40, right, then only you get 1 km per hour, okay. Now you have a choice, you have reduced down the speed, so naturally if you are going at lower speed, now these are very common sense things, right. If you are going at 1 km hour speed, you are going to take much more time, right, we are slowed down considerably. So it would be 5 into 40, which is like what, 200 hours is equal to 200 hours. You will take 200 hours, okay. At 80 km per hour speed, now you have suddenly multiplied by this by 80, it would take, earlier it was at 1 km it was taking 200 hours, at 80 it would be by 80, right, is equal to 2.5 hours. Now this you will be able to relate, right, at 1 km per hour it takes 200 hours. If suddenly you go at 80, naturally you cannot multiply 200 by multiplied by 80, right, correct. In that case, if you are multiplying here, you will have to divide it here, inverse variation, right, I mean that should be there in your mind somewhere, correct. So this is how you get it, and you will be able to understand. I need not explain further, but I guess you got the point. Great. And let's try one more problem. Right. Okay, so let's try one more problem. Okay, tell me whether this is going to be a case of direct variation or inverse variation. Okay, all right, let's see. Okay, so car rentals, so you rent a car for going, cost rupees 2000, okay, for 8 hours. Okay, how much would it cost for 12 hours? Okay, assuming the tariffs are proportional. Okay, all right, so how much would it cost for 12 hours? So let's say tariff, let's find out in rupees. Okay, time in hours. All right, so it's 2000 for 8 hours. For 12 hours, let it be y. Okay, let's draw these two lines, put the arrowhead. 12 is more than 8, so I am going to put the arrowhead next to 12. Okay, so this is less, more. How about this? For 8 hours, if I am paying 2000, for 12 hours, naturally the tariff will also increase, correct? No? So y will be greater than 2000. So this arrow is here. Now both the arrows are pointing in the same direction, so it is a case of direct variation, right? So tariff is directly proportional to time hired, right? So it was how much time you hired. As the time hired increases, your tariff will also increases, right? All right, so this is the one. Now if that is the case, let's solve. Somehow I want y in the numerator, so I'll go like this: y by 2000 is equal to y by 2000, so I go this way only, 12 by 8. So y is equal to 12 into 2000 by 8. Right. So what is the answer here? So this is what, 500, 125. Can I say 125? Is that right? I guess 250. Okay, this is 250. So 250 into 12, right, is 3000. Okay, so 3000 rupees. So for 12 hours you need to pay 3000 rupees, right? So we figured it out. All right, so this is good. And remember, we were solving some problems in percent, and every time I was telling you, I was dividing on both sides. Let's take a look at one of that scenario, right? You might be thinking, while I was teaching percentage, whether it would be every time you divide both sides. Let's see, and why we did that. Okay, we said 70% of 500, right? Remember, which meant 70 out of 100. Percent means per cent, cent is 100, right? Let me write that down if you have forgotten. 70 per cent, right? Now cent means 100, so I can write 70 per 100. I can also write per as out of, right? Out of. All right. Now 70, if you are getting out of 100, out of 500, what will you do, right? So we said we multiply both left hand side and right hand side by 5 right, and it would be 350 out of 500, right. Now in this case it was a problem, right. All these problems are of scenarios wherein it is a direct variation, right. This increases, this also increases, right. So definitely that multiplication on left hand side and multiplication on right hand side made sense. But in the case of inverse variation, you multiply on one side, you will have to divide on the other side, just like what happened in the case of 5 workers or 5 men completing the work in 100 days. Then I divided the left hand side by 5, so 1 man, but you have to multiply 5 to the number of days, making it 500 days, right. That was a case of inverse variation, so you had to do it. All these are direct variation cases. Definitely you would understand why I am saying that. So you divide on one side, you also end up dividing on the other side, or you multiply on one side, you also end up multiplying on the other side, right. So I think with this we will conclude today's session. We will take some more examples from the textbook this time, and we will solve them. Okay, so till we meet in the next session, you take care and God bless. Subscribe, tell your friends, you know the drill. All right, I am leaving it to you. So take care and bye bye.